As a seasoned paranormal investigator, Sarah had seen her fair share of strange and unexplained occurrences. She had witnessed apparitions, heard disembodied voices, and even encountered malevolent entities. But nothing could have prepared her for the horrors that awaited her in the old Victorian mansion on Willow Street. It was a gloomy October evening when Sarah received a call from a distraught family who claimed their house was plagued by a malevolent presence. She arrived at the mansion just after sunset, her breath visible in the chill of the autumn air. The house loomed before her, its windows like empty eyes, and the moon cast eerie shadows across its overgrown garden. The family, the Johnsons, welcomed her with trembling hands and haunted expressions. Sarah could tell they had been through hell. Mr. Johnson, a tall man with graying hair, led her to the living room, where an antique rocking chair swayed back and forth on its own. "This is where it started," he stammered. "The chair, it moves by itself, and we hear strange noises, like whispers in the walls." Sarah nodded, her heart pounding. She had a feeling this case was unlike any other she'd encountered. She began her investigation by setting up her equipment: cameras, voice recorders, and electromagnetic field detectors. The first night passed quietly, with only a few minor anomalies: a distant creaking floorboard, an unexplained cold draft, and a shadowy figure darting just out of sight. Sarah chalked it up to nerves, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked in the house. Over the next few days, the activity escalated. Objects moved of their own accord, paintings fell from the walls, and the whispering grew louder and more coherent. Sarah reviewed her recordings, hearing faint, desperate voices begging for help, but the words were just out of reach, like a ghostly secret. One evening, as she sat alone in the dimly lit living room, Sarah felt a bone-chilling presence behind her. She turned, and her breath caught in her throat. Standing there was a figure, shrouded in darkness, its eyes hollow and malicious. It reached out a gnarled hand, and Sarah could feel its icy grip on her shoulder. In a panic, she leapt to her feet and stumbled backward, knocking over her equipment. When she turned back, the figure was gone, leaving behind only an oppressive silence. Sarah knew she had to dig deeper into the history of the house. She spent days researching the mansion's past, uncovering dark secrets that sent shivers down her spine. It turned out that the previous owners, a family named the Harringtons, had met a gruesome end within these very walls. Their son, Andrew, had gone mad and killed his parents and younger sister before taking his own life. The Johnsons had been living in the house for only a few months, but it seemed that the malevolent spirit of Andrew Harrington had latched onto them, tormenting them as it had his own family. Sarah decided to reach out to a medium, a woman named Eliza, who had helped her in previous investigations. Eliza arrived at the mansion, her presence calming in the midst of the chaos. She closed her eyes and began to speak in hushed tones, communicating with the other side. "The spirit of Andrew Harrington is trapped here," Eliza whispered, her voice distant. "He is consumed by guilt and anger, unable to move on. He believes that the Johnsons are responsible for his family's fate." Sarah shuddered. It was a chilling revelation. She knew she had to find a way to free Andrew's tormented soul and put an end to the Poltergeist phenomenon once and for all. With Eliza's guidance, Sarah devised a plan. She would conduct a seance to communicate with Andrew and offer him forgiveness and closure. The Johnsons agreed, their desperation outweighing their fear. The seance took place in the very room where the chair had first moved on its own. Sarah, Eliza, and the Johnsons sat in a circle, their hands clasped, while candles flickered in the dim light. Sarah called out to Andrew, inviting him to join them. At first, there was nothing but the eerie silence that had become all too familiar. Then, slowly, the temperature dropped, and the room seemed to vibrate with energy. The air grew thick, and Sarah felt a weight pressing down on her chest. "Andrew," she began, her voice steady, "we know what happened to your family, and we understand your pain. But you can't continue to hurt the Johnsons. They had nothing to do with your tragedy." A gust of wind swept through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. Sarah felt a presence near her, and she reached out, her fingers brushing against icy skin. She could sense Andrew's anguish, his torment, but also his longing for release. "Andrew, you can find peace," she said, her voice trembling. "Let go of your anger and guilt. Your family would want you to be free." Suddenly, the room was filled with a blinding light, and Sarah felt a surge of energy pass through her. When the light faded, she found herself alone in the room, her hands still clasped in the seance circle. The poltergeist phenomenon had ceased. Over the next few weeks, the Johnsons reported no more paranormal activity in the house. It seemed that Andrew had finally found the peace he had longed for, thanks to Sarah's intervention. As Sarah left the mansion on Willow Street, she couldn't help but wonder about the countless other haunted places she had yet to explore. The poltergeist phenomenon had been one of the most terrifying experiences of her career, but it had also been a powerful reminder of the importance of offering compassion and forgiveness, even to the most malevolent spirits that roamed the earth.